Norway, Netherlands, and places like those ones. And by the way, their leadership is different from the male leadership. I think you must have seen some TikTok, information going around during COVID, that the best controlled countries in terms of control of COVID or management of COVID were actually led by women. Leadership of women is different when it is there, but of course, we are also children of patriarchy, so we carry it with us until we rationalize and begin thinking otherwise. So I think it is very important to recognize the importance of women in leadership, whether it is economic leadership or political leadership or any other leadership. Even at the universities, public institutions, when leadership is women, they come with something different. And if you are alone, you can be alone with men, but you're not making any difference. In fact, if anything, you become like, the men in terms of leadership. That's why the critical mass theory is important for women's leadership, and that is why we must have it. And I believe that it is important that we invest in it. We have another opportunity. You will probably find that if it's going to be put on constitutional amendment, other things are going to be brought in as a way of defeating it. So now you don't know whether you should get in, you should support the constitutional provisions, because there are other things which other different political parties will not want to support or not. So I think it is a catch-22, but I think we have a lot of energy. We can make it this time. I think we have many generations together.
All right. Thank you very much, Makofi yake. So this is what I'm going to do. I know there are some questions pending, Mheshimiwa Sophia, but just allow me to take the last round, please, so that we wrap it up. All right. Zoom, yes, I'm coming to that side. I saw your hands up, but first we'll start with Dr. Rose Kisia. She's joining us via Zoom, and I'll ask you to ask one question, please, as concisely as possible. You can.
Thank you so much for the opportunity to join the meeting via the Zoom. I really don't have a question, but a comment, especially on 2/3 gender rule. First is to know that women really fight for gender equality, but once they are elected into parliament, they
Dr. Rose, I'm sorry to cut you short. I don't know whether it's your connection or our connection. Unfortunately, we are struggling to hear you, Dr. Rose. Okay, so Dr. Rose Polesane was struggling to hear you. I don't know whether it's your connection or our connection, but just mute so that we try Margaret Mate, who is also on Zoom, and that we will be able to establish whether it's on our end or your end. Margaret, perhaps we could hear from you and see where the problem is. Margaret Mate? Is she still online? All right, Wangari Mwaniki. Wangari, you're on Zoom. You had raised your hand. Wangari, you can unmute and ask your question.
Hello?
Yes, go ahead.
This is Margaret. Can you hear me?
Oh, Margaret, yes, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Yes, good afternoon. Good afternoon, ladies. Very happy to be here today. I am a former aspirant at Kajiado East, and later joined my women in table banking. And my question is it possible possible to have more of this. And number two, include those women that lose or don't make it to these elective positions. And then maybe you can push for a law through parliament that can automatically give those women who don't make it then into other areas, leadership positions. Thank you very much, and I look forward to more of this. And thank you so much to Daisy, my friend, my leader, my mentor. Good afternoon, ladies.
All right, thank you very much, Margaret. Wangari Mwaniki, you could unmute now and ask your question. Try Dr. Rose one more time. Dr. Rose Kisia, we can try one more time, or she's chatted. Okay, let's try you one more time. If you're not able to, you can drop your comment or your question in the chat. Actually, you said it was more of a comment. Dr. Rose Kisia, let's try one more time. All right, we do not have her. All right, so there's that question from Margaret. There were a few other questions from here. Oh, yes, and sorry, first priority, one of the ladies who is hearing impaired had a question. So let me start there, then I'll come, if you'll allow me, please. Siwachuki.
Hello everyone, my name is Josephine Kalu Kakoma. I'm representing the disability group. We have had a long day, yes, but I just want to know more if all these women who have spoken here have experienced a lot of challenges. What about we women with disability in the political area? Because you find it's challenging for us to, when it comes to accessibility, when it comes to funding. And the Constitution is very clear. 5%, we need to have 5% representation of persons with disability in different sectors. And when it comes to nomination, we lost a lot, but we are still strong women, because you could find most of the counties, they just nominated anyone. They didn't even consider so much persons with disability. In other counties, they even nominated like 2 men, and they did not consider women and also women with disabilities. So we know it's a male-dominated area, but you could find most of persons, even who did not have any disability, they were given some positions to represent us, persons with disability. So if women without disability are crying, what about us, women with disability? So I just want to ask you if you can include us in your when you are going for your political nominations, when you are going for your campaigns, at least even when you are speaking here, we have the issue of 2/3 gender rule. We want to know how many women with disability are going to be involved in the 2/3 gender rule. Thank you.
Hiyo sijui kama ni ya Daisy. All right, here we go.
Wow, thank you so much, and good afternoon, everyone. My name is Julia Chege from Murang'a County. I vied for Member of Parliament Kangema at the Democratic Party ticket. I got 55.7 votes, and it was not an easy journey. I can actually echo with Wanjiko Thiga here. Now, mine is not a question, but rather a comment. When I speak after my professor, Professor Wajiko Kabira, I am very careful on what I'm going to say. But I can actually recall when I met Professor Wajiko Kabira, when I had gone back to campus to do my master's, she kept on saying, we want to pass on the baton You know, I know, Professor, you have said that 1,000 times. And many times you have told us, you are the ones to do it. You are the ones to do it. But now we have a challenge. Most of the people, but of course I'm not in that bracket, do not understand the 2-3 gender principle, and they are also not interested. Now, Daisy, please listen to me, because I want to send you to the Member of Parliament women, especially the ones who are here. It is an embarrassment, it is an insult of the people, of the women of Kenya, for a woman to walk out in a meeting, irrespective of whoever is calling. They would have gone there. So that one, we are not apologizing. That one, they have to be told head on. If you have to go on, Daisy, kindly, you have to talk to them. Because it is last night, I spoke to a woman rep. Actually 5 of them. I was actually taking them through a certain program. And one of them, on my face, I nearly spit saliva on her face, or even slap her. She told me, I don't support women. Yet she is sitting on a women led seat. I told her, if you're honest, resign, nikutabue. Now, women, what is our problem? What is our problem? Akina Professor Wajiko Kabira, they are here. Akina Dr. Nancy Baraza, they are here. They have walked the journey. They have been there. But us, we are just interested with the money that we are going to sign in here. And I'm not embarrassed to say that, Daisy. If Daisy, your work has to be amplified in this country, and you are doing a fantastic job, you have also to be very firm and tell people, you come to my meeting, you have to sit down and wait for the meeting to end. Are we together, women? We have to do that. We have to move away from that. I remember Professor Wajiko Kabila when we were doing meetings. And by the way, what I'm telling you, it is true. We don't walk out on her class. How do you walk out on her class? If you don't want to come for the meeting, please don't come. Yes. And that's why I normally say, even online meetings, they are a scam. You can actually do them in your bed when you're sleeping, you know. But when we come here, kindly, Daisy, I felt a lot of pain. Women here have been grumbling, but I said I have to tell you, and I say it here. We want to send you, Daisy, because you called them, and I don't know which other woman who will be accompanying Daisy. Of course, I'm not part of that team, but we have to talk to these women because they have vowed, and I want to tell you here, I don't know whether you and women are still here, but I'm sure they'll get the recording. They have vowed the 2-3 gender rule. They are waiting for it, waiangushe. Now, seriously speaking, we cannot actually be doing this. And I'm giving you with the facts, you know. So we have to tell these women, when they are going to vote, they must be together, wakae pamoja, so that we know who is not going to vote for the 2-3 gender. Are we together? Hakuna kujificha tena. Otherwise, this is a fantastic forum, but if we don't do that, if we bring jokes into this, tutakuwa tukikunywa maji ya chupa vile CS alisema, but we are not going to go far. And you know what? The men are there laughing at us and wondering what is the problem with us and wondering what can't we learn. So we must be able to take on the baton. Prof, you know, I'm already doing there. You know, I even told the CS today, even those one who are preparing to be president, they are also preparing. Who said that William Ruto can only be the president? I'm not fighting him. Mi niliacha yo maneno. I was a petitioner number 7. Niliacha. We have a government. But I can be the president 2027. Are we together? Or any one of you here. So let us prepare. Let us be bold. If we don't have those hard conversations, we are not moving women of Kenya forward. God bless you.
Haya, Daisy, ulikuwa na swali na pia umeuliza swali.
Mimi ile kitu nilikuwa nataka ni Mheshimiwa Sofia aongee kuhusu her experience, kwa maana alichaguliwa. Eventually, after that 20 years, she was elected. But she also needs to talk about, hey, let me start. It's like a see? So, I want, Lichuma, she asked a question here about what do people know about the 2/3, and very few hands went up. But we also have a responsibility to do civic education. Kwa maana Mheshimiwa Sofia alichaguliwa na alifanya kazi na ametuambia ile kazi amefanya, lakini alipigwa vita pia, so that in 2022 she lost because of ile vita alipigwa based on the stereotypes and the myths that surround women and women in leadership. And that's why I was telling her, continue, because I want her to tell that story, because being there doesn't mean that you are secure. We need to secure them by educating the communities so that we can secure them, not just when they are there, but when they are tomorrow, I mean for future. Julia, nimekusikia na nitafikisha ujumbe. Masi, hata Masi ameenda. Haya, nitafikisha ujumbe.
Yes, I will give you the microphone. Just because also on Zoom, there are several comments for you. Here we have a lot, actually. Well explained, Sophie. Sophia, that was powerful. I see here Tilda Gitau, everyone says big up, Sophie. Mercy Kiambati to everyone at 342. Well done, Sophie. Anab Kasim says congratulations, Madam Sophia, and other leaders who always believe in women leadership. I see here as well for Sophie, on point. This is Cynthia Kilonzo who says on point. Let me see so that I get as many as possible. Basically, wanasikiza, wenye wako Zoom wanasikiza, and they're supporting. But there was a question here, Honorable Sophia, how can we get women in parliament to support other women?
And first I want to answer her question. She said I shared an experience of the 10th Parliament and the 12th Parliament. You remember the 10th Parliament, we came from post-election violence. We had a lot of problems in our country. That is the first time people were taken to The Hague because of the problem we faced. So people were emotional in the 10th Parliament. And women took responsibility even to do mediation of the communities that were fighting. So that's where we started. We started with emotions. We started with saving our country. We started with, saving our people. So from there, we started bonding together as the women. So that is, we developed a very strong bonding that time. When it came to the 12th Parliament, it was different. The 12th Parliament, we had many women. Remember, we were only 22 in the 10th Parliament. We were many women, and we didn't have a post-election violence. We didn't have anything. Everybody came, and everybody was. So what happened? Women were divided immediately because of political interest and because of, we were going for presidential election. There was a change of power. So what happened? Women were divided. I did not involve myself, and you can attest to that. We had Kieleweke and we had Tanga women. So women were all over the country. They didn't have time for women issues. They had time for political issues that they thought it was important, and anyway, it was important. So that was the difference. You can see we came from a very emotional. We joined the parliament when it was very sensitive. The country was, people were scared. People thought this is the time Kenya is going to fall. And as mothers, we felt we had a responsibility. So that was the difference between the two parliaments. Then when I come to the issue of Desi want to, when I was elected, and I went back home, I had developed a lot of good relationship with most of the constituents, even those who did not vote for me. I had to go out of my way to do a lot of things for even those who did not elect me. But what happened, there are people who worked very hard day and night. They created a lot of insecurity in the constituency. And they used that insecurity to say that because Al-Shabaab came because you elected a woman. And there was a lot of insecurity then in the constituency. But I decided to go to my constituency every time, so that if I feared and stayed, then that could be true for them. I had to go and I had to mobilize people. You remember we had census in 2019. So during the census, I had to stay about 5 months in my constituency just to mobilize people and to do a lot of work in the constituency. And that time, I could be told that Shabab are here, don't sleep in this house, go to the other house, go to the other house. But I wanted to build the confidence of my constituency and the people. So usually I could spend to the place where the people tell me, don't spend. That was one. That they used proper, my opponents. Propaganda is strong. That the woman, when you elect a woman, now Al-Shabaab are Muslims, they came to fight the woman you elected. So that was one challenge I faced. The other challenge is, you remember there was drought all over the world because of global warming, climate change. Name anywhere in Africa, everywhere there was very bad drought. They used that drought and they said, it is in the Quran, if you elect a woman, you will have a lot of problems, and this is one of the problems. Al-Shabaab is here, drought is here, people are dying, animals are dying, everybody is dying because of the woman, the leadership of a woman. So that also, I had a challenge. Although it was a global thing, it affected me. So, Desi, I think I've answered your question. So we need to do Of course, yes.
All right, thank you very much, Mhesh. And actually, there was another question here. I don't know, are you joining us tomorrow?
Yes.
Yeah. Yes, because I think nataka pia ni wa release mapema, si ndio? So kulikuwa na hii swali, lakini just take note of this question, Mheshimiwa Sophia. Money and negotiation democracy is becoming a thorn in our NFD counties. How can we be assisted? Yo utajibu kesho. Ana naomba kesho pia you log on to Zoom. So nachukua tu
no more. You can't.
Nimeambiwa siwezi chukua swali nyingine. But we are together tomorrow.
Tomorrow you can't.
You can't.
Ati?
Hapana. Kesho. Wacha.
Question on disability. All right, we answer the question on disability. I know there was, can I do at least 3 questions? No, tufunge. Sawa. You give the answer and then we'll close.
We can't go without answering it. I think it was an important question. Okay. All right. I think the lady about the intersecting problems that persons living with disability have to deal with in politics, that must be acknowledged. They are not just women. They live with disability. They grapple with economic challenges, and then even when the law is so clear about the 5% representation, it's ignored. But I think the past election, the recent past elections, the IEBC stepped in where party lists were submitted and they didn't meet the criteria of the representation of people living with disabilities and with women, and the list was sent back, and it was, I hope it was rectified. But the law is there, only that the practice is bad. But if organizations like IEBC, like the political parties tribunal, etc., can deal with it, then we can comply with the law. But it should be appreciated that they face very many intersecting challenges.
Haya basi tutafungia hapo, lakini naomba mnisamehe watu wa Grao. Watu wa Grao naomba mnisamehe. Kesho tutajipanga. Kesho tutajipanga vizuri. Most of the time actually we'll go towards plenary, but I'm so sorry. I owe you. Sawa, kesho, watu wa Grao Aki. Kesi kesho. I want to close the first day here. Clearly, there are many issues we still need to address. Tuko hapa kesho, 8:30. Nataka kuwashukuru, najua kuna wenye wanakimbia nyumbani juu mko na hii kazi na kuna ile kazi na wangoja wapi? Nyumbani. So I want to release you. For those who can, there is some tea outside, but please clap for yourselves. Please clap for yourselves. I hope to see you tomorrow. And also, I'll ask you to please clap for Nancy Baraza. She has stayed with us from the start to finish. Mmesema MPs wameenda lakini yeye amebaki. And Professor Wanjiko Kabira pia, makofi yake. And Raha, maendeleo wanawake. All right, I will release you. Have a good evening. See you tomorrow. Oh, Beatrice, makofi yako.
No, but only internally, but at the end of the day,